What's up, y'all? Good morning. So I want to just come here and just talk with you guys a little bit about something that I just experienced this week, and it affected me in my life, for a short term until I realized, what had happened and what the reality was. So I'm grateful, for the people in my life that talk to me and let me be, are a safe space and just remind me of the reality of situations. Sometimes we get caught up in our mind and our past stories that we've sold ourselves, that we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to be that person that we know we want to be and who we can be. So in my life, for the last 2.5 years, I was planning on not having any more kids. That was set. I didn't want more kids, and I was ready for a vasectomy, but my wife wasn't sure. And came January this year, my wife told me that she was, she didn't want any more kids. She was set. I should get a vasectomy. So I waited for 3 months, 90 days straight for her to tell me the exact same thing. And and she did. And for 3 months, she told me that she didn't want no more kids. So I was like, all right, cool. It is what it is. And then I went and got the appointment to vasectomy. I did the whole pre-op work for the surgery. I scheduled the date, June 26th, 4 p.m. And as I was filling out the paperwork, my wife told me something different. And she decided, I was reading the paperwork, and I was like, let me just have my wife know it's important for us. This is a procedure we're both going through. It's not, I was the one who was going under the operation, but it was something that we were both going to, experience because it's part of both of our lives. So I decided I wanted to let her read the information. Well, after she read the information to understand the procedure and stuff, she decided that she actually wanted another kid. That hurt me because, having another kid just changed my whole plans of what I saw for the future. But something I discovered, because I spoke about something last time, but something else I discovered was I have a fear of having children because I didn't have the best parents. And my dad is a piece of shit. Mad respect to him, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. But he's not the man that I look up to. He's not the man that I always pictured a dad should be. He's just not that person, and that's okay because he's making those decisions for his life, and that doesn't have to affect who I am today. Yes, it affected me as a child because he didn't choose to be the man that he was supposed to be, and I carried burdens and things like that, but I've overcame them. And I realized that I'm allowed to create my own independence and find my own happiness and learn from other people who might not be my father, but their father roles to someone else. It's just a male role model. So I've used that to my advantage over my time to find other people I can look up to and learn from. But when the thought of me becoming a father, it had this fear inside of me, and someone brought up to me, dude, you come from a broken home. How do you expect to have kids and be excited? And I was like, you're right. My trauma that I went through as a kid, I thought I healed myself from that. And I thought I forgave myself from that, and I accepted it. But I actually never did. And that was one of those things that we just kind of put inside of ourselves, and we just bury really deep inside, and we act like it's not a big deal until something comes up, and then it faces our reality, and then it hits us in the face. We get dropped on a bag of bricks just fell on top of us, and we just feel weighed down and just beat, and we don't know what to do no more. Well, that's exactly what happened to me, and I was just feeling oh my God, I don't know what to do with kids. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm scared of, and I had all this anxiety and this fear and depression started to own me. And I had no idea why, because it's if I look at my reality, I got 2 kids and they absolutely love me. I make time for them, and I give them attention, and I give them love, and I make sure they know that I'm there for them. I give them the freedom to be themselves. I give them the freedom to do what they think is best for them as I guide them in correcting behaviors if I don't think it's the best thing. I give them the freedom just to be who they want to be. It's not my job to tell them who they can be. It's not my job to tell them what they can and cannot do. It is my job to show them that they can be whoever they want, give them that independence, give them that confidence, but most importantly, just love them no matter what. And that, I never had that as a kid. So as a person who wants to have a son, instantly the fear of that father-son connection I don't have came in my mind. I thought I wasn't good enough, and I thought I couldn't do it, and I was scared of having another child. And I started talking to some other older people, asking them, what do you think the problem is? How can I overcome this? And honestly, they asked me this, and go, well, first thing is, if you're having a child, make sure you're financially set up. Are you financially straight? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Okay. do you want the kid? Well, my wife does, so like it's part of me. Like, yeah, I can accept it. Like, yeah, I want the kid now. And okay, so do you have a plan for where you're going? Like, what you guys are planning on do? Because a year from now, when you have a baby, like things are gonna be different. Are you ready? Like, are you planning for it? And I was like, yeah, like I'm already like set up and planning and stuff. And so, what are you scared of? Like, there's nothing to be scared of. You've already set your plan. You identified what you need to do. You're taking action, and you're on track. Like, there's nothing more to be scared of and like set back from it. But what started scaring me, that was very deep inside of me, that I didn't realize was holding me back, was a fear of being a bad father, because I didn't have a father who was present. And that absentness has created this feeling inside that I've been seeking an acceptance from a person that doesn't care to accept me, and doesn't care to love me, and doesn't care to gift me. But I don't need it from him. It must come from within. And it's just really crazy, because I learned this lesson multiple times in so many different ways, and it keeps showing up in other parts of my life. So I share this with you guys just because, for me, when something hits me and I'm in a situation and I don't feel right, and y'all feel like your energy just shifts and you just feel like you step back and you're scared, there's always that one thought that comes into your mind right away, and that one thing, that one experience, that one trauma that sits with you forever, and it comes up in those experiences. That right there is something that you have to identify and heal for yourself. Too often, we get into these situations where we have things that hold us back. We have adversities, we have fear, we have stress, we have insecurities, all these different things in our lives that we allow to affect us because of past experiences, traumas. But when those things show up in our life, we just run from them again. But let me tell you something, the key to get over that, because guys, I overcame depression, I overcame anxiety, I overcame insecurities, I overcame self-defeat, I overcame so many different things. And just to wrap it all up, it's basically I overcame everything that destroyed me as a person and didn't allow me to feel like I'm valuable. And I did that in a very simple way. Adversity is always going to be a part of our life. Like, there's absolutely nothing we can do to avoid problems. Why? Because it's just a part of our life. It's just a part of what happens. It's our growing process. It's just who we are, and it's an asset to that. So understanding that that's a part of our life allows us the opportunity to do things differently, to think differently, to work differently, to act differently, and to create things differently. So, for me, in situations where I feel down and I feel all those feelings that we just spoke about, if something pops up inside of my head where fear comes and I'm scared to do something, and there's a past experience that stops me, I do this one simple thing. And I'm not special. Anyone can do it. All I do is I forgive myself from that experience. I walk myself through it. I identify where I feel hurt, and I identify what I feel affects me. And in that moment, after I identify it all, and I realize what it is that's holding me down, like holding me back because of that situation, I look at the facts and I have to tell myself, it is what it is. It's happened. There's absolutely nothing that I can do to change what happened. But what I can do is I can learn from what happened. There's an educational experience to ourselves through all of our experiences in our life, whether they're good or bad. But when something happens to us, there's an experience there, and there's an education that's going to teach us and set us up for the success of the next time something like that shows up. So we must forgive ourselves in those situations for the pain. We must not live in fear of, fighting back something that we don't want because of the past pain that we have. But we must be aware of what happened there. We must understand it's okay that it happened, and give ourselves that healing, and realize that it doesn't have to happen again in the future if I'm aware of what led me to that situation. Okay? So in my case, the fear of being a father to a son was because I grew up in a broken home and I was abused by my father. He didn't care about me. And then I rekindled him when I was older, and I thought that he was interested in a relationship. But, there's just some people who just aren't interested, and that's okay. Like, he pretends to be interested, but, you can't fake emotions. Like, you can fake your words, but you can't fake your heart. And when you understand that and you do things from your heart and you free yourself and give your heart that love and attention that you desire and you crave, it doesn't need to come from nobody else. So like, I understood that. So for me, I had to like accept that and like say it is what it is, but also write a new meaning on how it means to me and understand that that actually was something that created who I am today. And I find gratitude in that. Like, I don't know how many people could say that they got beat by their parents and they're grateful for it. I don't know how many people could say they feel abandoned by their parents and they're grateful for it. You know, I don't know how many people could say things like that. The reason why is, so in these situations, all you got to do is just accept it and recreate the meaning for it and take the lesson from it. So that way you have the wisdom and the education to carry with you through all other experiences and situations you can embrace or encounter, and not have to worry about the pain to hit you, because you're now aware of what could happen. And you're going to take the proper steps and the actions to create the lifestyle that's going to give you the feeling that you want, while knowing what happens from the education of the things that you don't want. And that's it, y'all. Just take control of your mind, take control of your thoughts, take control of your experiences, and allow yourself to give yourself that freedom that you want, because that comes from within, from yourself, from your own forgiveness that you give yourself. And that's all I got for y'all today. Hey, much love. I hope you guys have a great day.